I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
GrokTALk.
3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GrokTALK.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com.
GrokTALk.
We are GrokTALK. It is segment 2 for December 13th, 2014. As always, thank you to the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers and GrokTALK.com. Check us out on YouTube, Spreaker, Facebook, Twitter, iHeart, Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, Spreaker, and God knows where else. Just search it. You'll find it. We're there. So, continuing our conversation, a very gentle, quiet, polite conversation. What are you whispering to me?
You're deluded. Quiet.
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh.
Clearly,
That's what
anybody
it's called.
who's listening knows that it's not quiet. All right, so we have in the studio we have squirrels and we have
jeez.
munchkins. So it's the
What?
it's
Don't
the
put those
battle.
back in.
It's the battle royale. We need a cage match between the squirrel and the munchkin. Okay. Susan Olsen is here. Jane Cormier, Skip Murphy. I'm Steve McDonald. On the phone we have Mike Rogers, who is our correspondent in India. And
Mysore, India.
Mysore, India.
Mysore. He
Mysore,
said he was
India.
in Mysore, India.
He's
which
in
is
Bangalore.
So fitting.
Bangalore. He's
What's
in
the same
Bangalore.
thing?
Bangalore. Right, Mike?
Bang a drum.
You there?
Bangalore, the place with a nice climate, or as near as you get to a nice climate around here before you go crazy and climb the walls out of India to the Himalayas.
And Kimberly Morin is with us as well. Sorry. And we're expecting
and
Scott
that's wonderful.
Morales
Skip.
and who knows who else.
Ed Nail?
Skip, you had a question.
Maybe. Skip, you had a question?
Yeah, you're right. I did.
He's forgotten it.
I don't know what it is anymore.
He's got a lot of questions. This one is escaped him.
You have questions, I have answers. What?
All right.
We were talking about
Well,
unity.
let's play Jeopardy. You give us an answer and we'll figure out the question.
Okay. Well, I mean, we were talking, I think, about the lust for power, and any Republican will get you there. And I think that's the point. I was about to quote Yogi Berra and say, if you don't know where you're going, and this crowd clearly don't, then any road will get you there. And that is the problem.
I think they
They
do
get
know,
elected, and they take the left-hand fork.
Mike, I think they do know where they want to go, and they're already there. They're sitting in the seat of power. And I think they will do almost anything not to let it go. And we've seen that time after time where, and I'll say the establishment, those people who go back to that meme, winning is only a precursor. No, for them, winning is the only thing. What comes afterwards is immaterial in a lot of cases. And, you know, maybe some people will call me a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe that there was more to the plotting of Sean Jasper becoming speaker than just Jasper running over to Deputy Dog Steve Shurtleff and Ray Buckley. I think that this double cross is going to screw them over as well. But the question comes up for those of us who are principled Republicans. Actually, I'm going to say principled conservatives.
I was going to say principled Republicans, kind of an oxymoron.
Well, I would say that we are.
We are, but
It's rare. We are principled and we happen to be Republicans.
Yeah,
Indeed.
and that's a better way of
Indeed,
putting
that's a
it.
better way.
But I think
it's like Republican leadership.
Because it used to be the only place for us to go.
yeah,
Yes.
and more we're hearing the mutterings, and yes, it may well be back to that other phrase. We may not win, but you will certainly lose. And all I have to do, and I think the classic case was, yeah, what about your race, Mr. Brown? Your quip was so delightful. We need to pull that out as a grok shot. But I will tell you that there are a lot of people who are feeling angry, and they don't care what happens to the party. And I don't think that the head honchos, the Sununu band of brothers behind the throne, Ayotte, Jeb Bradley, and a few others, I don't think that they necessarily care. And
I don't think they get it all together. You know,
they still keep winning enough so that they still think it's okay.
No, but here's the thing. See, this happens, I think, in every business, in every company, every level. You start out, say, I started out at the bottom and worked my way up, and now I'm like a manager, right, of some institution of some sort. And the guy who was there before you becomes your supervisor. And for a little while, he remembers what it was like to be there every day on the ground, and in this case in the grassroots doing the hard work. He remembers what those people felt, and he was in touch with it. But after a while, he's not there very much. He's doing other things. He's in the office, he's out driving around, he's doing whatever. He starts to lose touch with the reality of the operation that he claims to be in charge of, right? So then circumstances come about where this person has to come back in and try to operate in this environment. No clue. Completely overwhelmed. Didn't even begin to remember how hard it was and how much passion and energy was involved in making everything run the right way and achieving specific goals, whatever they happen to be. Disconnected. They're so disconnected. They, like the DC people, they don't care what we think because they don't get it. It's like rich people. They have no idea what it's like to think about how much gas costs. They don't care. They spend $15,000 on shoes. They don't know what it's like to think about how much money you spend at the grocery store. The establishment Republicans are in that swamp. They have no freaking clue, and they don't even care. If we vote for their guys for whatever our reasons are, they don't care. They don't care. Jasper's a fine example of that. That never should have happened. And if it wasn't supposed to happen, somebody's in trouble. And if it was supposed to happen, somebody's in more trouble.
Well, I think
right. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
So a couple of things. First of all, they're calling us the extremists, and they think that there's a fringe in the party. There's not. They're in danger of losing about a third of the party. People from the House, the person that called myself and Skip yesterday, is as mad as hell. I would not have called him the most conservative man in the House. He was a good conservative. He was a very good Republican, but he was a party man. He's now not a party man. He's explicitly a burn the party to the ground man because they've angered him so much. And very many of the voters are in that mode as well. So, the rich families that supported this Republican Party are the only supporters now. The grassroots didn't put in so much money, although they put in money. They put in time. They put in votes. They're now putting in none of the above. And that's not the only problem. The problem is national. Boehner and McConnell are about to do to the country, with a bit of help from Ayotte, I suspect, what the crowd here have just done.
Well, they just did it.
Exactly. And they've made the entire country angry at them, too. And there really is no difference between the one-and-a-half-party system here. The Republicans aren't much better than the tax collectors for the welfare state. They're not doing us any good. They don't understand what a republic is or what Republican principles are, and they are in it just for the power. Yeah. But there's one more little thing. I got word, and I don't know if the name can be used.
No, probably not.
From inside the Executive Council, that Horn was in on this planning to get Jasper elected.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Okay, yeah, that's one of the things we're hanging on to.
3, 4, or 5.
I want to go to Susan now. Susan.
Well, you talk about the fact that so many of us are becoming disengaged, and I'm just old and jaded enough to think that they're probably quite happy with us leaving because it's much like the unemployment rate. When you consider the fact that they only take a look at those folks that are still in the workforce, it looks pretty good. But if you look at everybody that's unemployed,
the 12 million people that have stopped looking for work since Obama was elected,
and the 46 million that truly are either unemployed or underemployed, but they can no longer apply for a workman's or whatever that stuff is because they've run out of time.
Free money.
So when you look at the percentage of people who are able to file for unemployment as a percentage of those that are still employed, it looks pretty good. So if the Republicans, the establishment, gets rid of us and we're just troublemakers, then does it not make it easier for them to bargain with Dems because we're not in the way and let them just sort of cut up the cheese any way they want?
But
it's there's not a dime's worth of difference between them.
But see, you're right. There isn't a dime's difference. So if
they just take turns.
But if the initial principle is that it's all about power mongering to keep your seat,
it is.
If they lose those seats because we come out and the Dems now have the vote, because the Dems will come out. Let's say we leave the party. Right? And let's say that we're just not going to participate now just to force them to lose that Republican seat. Then it hits home. At that point, there is no bargaining because they're just going to lose the seat because the Dems will then take that seat.
But then it allows them to whine.
Well, let them whine. It'll burn down in the meantime.
Hey.
Mike?
Yeah. So I was going to say something along the lines of the thing about the unemployment rate. You'll be able to say that Horn is supported by 90% of registered Republicans.
There you
because
go.
The rest of us will have unregistered.
Exactly.
Okay, but if that's the message that they want to have, that's fine. They're not going to have any boots on the ground. They're not going to have much money coming in except that comes from outside of the state. They're going to look like a bunch of buffoons.
90% of nothing. Kimberly, interject.
You know, didn't we already have 90% of the money coming from out of state in the last election?
We had a lot.
We kind of, that's always going to be true because we're a little bitty state.
But that's about to change because of what's in one of the last things put into the Cromnibus. But I'll talk about that after you're done, Kimberly.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that I don't even know what to say anymore.
That kind of covers it, I think.
That kind of covers it. No, but
it's hard to know where to start.
Exactly. I mean, they talk about unity all the time, but you're supposed to unify behind something or someone that represents at least 80% of what the Republicans all agreed upon in their platform, correct?
Yes.
In theory.
In theory. And yet you have, people in the Senate that pushed Obamacare's Medicaid expansion. I don't care what the hell excuses they use. It's crap. They should have just let Stiles hang for that and pushed, against it. Instead, they helped her get reelected.
They
when you have people stabbing you in the back as conservatives and as constituents, whether you're Republican or not, it's kind of hard to stand up behind these people and give them little soft golf claps when they do something.
Well, unity.
Never mind the party. I mean, if you're in the party, I can't even imagine. Well, I hear what everybody says, but what gives anybody the want to help or do anything?
And that is the exact thing that we're seeing right now because we do. I don't think the party realizes how much trouble they're putting themselves into unless, once again, it's by design. And since Obama got elected, so many crazy things have happened. If I had said this 5 years beforehand, I would have been brought over to, have my special fitting for the white jacket with a leather trim and extra long sleeves. But yet a lot of the stuff that we used to think were conspiracy theories are now coming true. And so why shouldn't we apply it somewhere else? And some of this stuff we're getting confirmation on.
Mike?
And the worst and most disgusting thing about all of this is that the state and the country will become bankrupt. The government will crater. There will be unrest when the unemployment checks don't go out, and the currency will eventually collapse. And all of this will be because a certain band would rather have power and chairmanship and something to horse trade for favors and money in their back pockets than do the right thing for the republic. And
Republic?
we have got to say
what? There's a republic?
Yeah. I know it's a democracy. Mob rule, and the mobs are ruling.
They're teaching it in the schools. My son has had twice. He's almost been thrown out of the classroom because the teacher absolutely keeps saying it's a democracy, and Christopher keeps saying no, it's a republic. And she said to him not a week and a half ago, "You are wrong." And he was, a couple times chastised heavily because they are teaching. They're actively teaching our kids. We do not have a republic.
They'll make us all beggars because we're easier to please. Right?
There you go, Susan.
I always go back to that story when my oldest son, who's in college now, first got into this course in high school, and he had this paper to fill out, kind of like a citizen's test, but different. And it said, where does our right of free speech come from? And I told him to write down God. And my wife was like, don't do that.
Isn't that sad? Well, they don't understand. They do not teach the concept of a natural right. They're only teaching now when you read the books. Some of them don't even have books, Some of them they will not even allow the books to come home.
Correct. And you're seeing that more and more with
Jane, I found that when our granddaughter stayed with us for about 6 months, our younger one, who's in the New Hampshire school system. and they would not send the textbooks home. They sent poorly Xeroxed
That's
pieces
right.
of textbook home. So you work with a little piece at a time. You can't see how bad the whole work is. And that's absolutely unconscionable.
Yes.
I remember carrying heavy satchels full of books
me
back
too.
and forth all the time.
Yes. No, they're
And I
actively
read
doing it.
Kimberly.
I know someone who was a school teacher in the Chicago school systems, and she posted and she's a far left-wing lunatic, but she posted books that were going to be taught in kids' schools in history, and they were by people like Howard Zinn.
Oh, boy.
And they were, so I bought the books just so I could read and see what they said. They don't teach the truth. They only focus on bad things. They don't, and they don't tell about the good things or expand on good things that happen. They totally twist historical facts.
Yes.
And this is what these kids are learning. These kids are being taught government gives you your
Everything.
rights, so that way government can take them away, and no one's going to say boo about it.
Right.
And that's really the part about American exceptionalism, that it's folks like us that stay true to, because we've studied the past, we've studied the words, we know what the philosophy is. The Declaration only recognizes that there are specific rights.
Go ahead. Finish. We're going to
Okay.
a break. I just wanted to let everybody know because I turned mics off and
All right.
totally
that they
ruined
were-
the coolness of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, you munged that up.
Munged it.
Just go to the break.
All right, we're going to go to the break, and we're just going to go to the break. That's it.
Few things are as important as finding the right doctor. And under Obamacare, that's harder than ever. Over a third of our hospitals no longer available. Our doctors no longer covered. Fewer choices, longer drives. No state has been harder hit than us. And even after watching it impact New Hampshire, Congresswoman Ann Custer still supports it. Call Ann Custer. Tell her Obamacare isn't working for New Hampshire.
It's hard to get audio quality like this for free. Just turn your radio on, and you can get it anytime you want. Welcome back to GrokTALK, brought to you by GrokTALK.com and the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers. Available on Spreaker, iHoot Radio. Oh, iHoot Radio.
And the blowfish.
And the Blowfish, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, Spreaker, my speech therapist, YouTube Spreaker. I said Spreaker twice, Facebook, Twitter.
You forgot your editor.
Live stream, and your cable's caught on your microphone, and you're going to damage your muff.
Or strangle yourself.
Strangle yourself. Which, no, don't do that. Don't do that, because then they'll be calling me instead of you.
Well, you get to run it all.
I get the free time to,
GraniteRock.com, New Hampshire's leading conservative libertarian blog site. Conservatarian blog.
That's shorter.
Blog site.
It fits on a bumper sticker.
You're absolutely right.
And of course, the Conservatarian Facebook founder.
And in the words of Winston Churchill, we shall never give up. Never give up.
Nope.
Never give up.
There's all different ways of
never give up.
He's staring at me. He's giving me the hairy eyeball. But
we
know what?
shall be.
We will continue to fight, but
freedom.
There's different ways to go about it.
I like that sugar you brought in.
Well, I think doubling down. What's that?
Did we stop when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
God.
You're breaking up again, Mike.
Nice. I just said Skip got what I said.
Mm-hmm.
I said rev up the Deathmobile, Bluto.
Yes, there you go. See, I couldn't hear you because it's you are calling from India. So
Mysore.
From Mysore, Bangalore.
What? You don't like Animal House?
I love Animal House.
All right. Anyway.
And so we make jokes about Mysore in India, and we are living, those of us that are there, and me that comes back, in Openshaw, New Hampshire.
No kidding.
Because the Republican Party keeps rubbing it.
Ooh, nice.
Kimberly.
Nice.
Kimberly.
Yes?
Yes, the alarm clock just went off. Kimberly, don't you see Animal House as a metaphor for politics here in New Hampshire?
Yeah, because it makes you need to drink.
So really what we should do is put on togas, right? grab our brewskis and head on
Get
over
the
to Concord.
Deathmobile.
Get the Deathmobile and drive on up to Concord.
All right, so what?
Well, last time I went to a toga party was in Jamaica on spring break when I was in college. It was not pretty.
No subject
You've
is
just
beyond
made
our reach.
You've just made Susan go speechless.
I'm just thinking of spring break.
Spring break?
Yeah. We went to Ardmore. That's about 50 miles from Stillwater, Oklahoma. It was big time.
Yeah, big time. Stillwater, Oklahoma doesn't sound like it's a hopping place.
No, and especially in summer school when it was tornado season, you know, somebody had a pickup truck and we get a case of beer and some pizzas and go chasing.
Yeah.
That was spring break. That was summer break.
That
Never
was
caught one.
That was only for you.
Never caught one.
Toga party in the bunker.
There you go.
I don't think you should have a toga party with a tornado nearby because that changes the dynamic quite a bit.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun.
That's true. That's true.
You're
When
talking
you're
to
young,
Susan Olsen.
When you're young, you can do all kinds of crazy things.
Indeed, and here comes
Anyway.
the squirrel. So, Skip, you were saying something profound, and then what happened?
And we had to go to break, and he
Yeah.
just gave up. No.
So tell me. So I want you to tell us what are the alternatives. What can we do to fight? How's that for a small question?
A small question. You know.
Put him up. Put him up.
Well, I think that is part of it. I think that
I can fight you with one hand. Sorry.
It's kind of hard to do that with a costume on, though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that
I'm trying to figure out if this is appropriate.
Now, who's responsible for this unwarranted attack on my person?
Okay.
That
please.
brings back memories.
I think that there is a lot. I think there are several problems with a lot of the folks who seem to find themselves, and we're among them, outside the party establishment. There's a whole lot of people there. I think we've talked about it before. But there is a severe lack of coordination. And part of it has to do with, let's put it this way, the New Hampshire establishment likes their seat of power. They become collectivized in their group think outlook. So they are turning into the Democrats. Gosh, am I going to get emails on this one?
Too bad.
But the rest of us still act like the traditional New Hampshire conservatives. We know that there's a problem, and I'm going to do it my way. And I think part of what has to happen, and if you're listening, Jennifer Horn or the other staff from the Republican HQ down in Concord or wherever.
Whoever your tracker is.
Yeah, whatever the tracker is. I think that a more coordinated outlook has to be taken by those of us who say this is wrong. And the problem is we haven't really done that since 2010 in any kind of a fashion.
Yes, we did. We went after Scott Brown.
Well,
Don't forget that, Skip.
Yeah,
all right, let's go back. You are right. We did mount that campaign.
Yes,
John
we did.
Stark and John Langdon for governor and U.S. Senate, even though they won't acknowledge that. I think we at Granite Grok kind of pushed that quite a bit. I'm not sure that it showed up in as many, what is it called, the scatter votes, the write-in votes is what I would have hoped. But,
didn't need to.
They blamed us for the loss, and I am happy to take that blame.
We may not have won, but they lost.
They lost.
And that's the thing I think that they are worried about. And part of what they're trying to do is to marginalize, like you said, Jane, 1/3 of the party. Now, how can that be a recipe for any kind of success unless you go back to what you said, Susan, the double talk, and claim something that really isn't. They're adopting the language of the Democrats where they're trying to redefine the language out from underneath us. And for every Republican that does that, everybody out there that's listening to us ought to be saying, why do they have to do that? Well, they have to do that for the same reason that the Democrats can't campaign on what they would really want to do, because they know that if they did, they wouldn't get elected. And now that's holding twice as true with the Republican Party. We try to hold the Republican Party to a much higher standard. Be plain speaking. Tell the truth. Tell us where your flag is planted, and then stand by that flag and defend it to the death. Unfortunately, we're in an environment, and we've seen it multiple times with Jennifer Horn, say with Stella Trombley, where any kind of political mug that's thrown up, they run away so that none of it gets on them, and then they turn around and they victim. I'll use a phrase from the Democrats. They victim shame. They victim blame. Instead of providing loyalty and saying, you know something, our opposition is going after you for saying something maybe not all that great. Instead of rallying around, they leave them to die.
Right.
And here's what we do.
They facilitate it.
We will stand up for you. And I think if people out there, if people are, wait a minute. If people are out there and if they're looking to stand up, come to us. We're asking you, how can we help you? Because we're tired of this nonsense. And if we become a rally point for you, hey, I'm all for it.
And you can help us become that rally point. You can help us expand our reach. You can help us find more of these people. You can get us more listeners. You can get us more readers. You can make it easier for us to break news and force the media in New Hampshire to follow us. You can do that. Contact us. Skip at GraniteGrok.com. Steve at GraniteGrok.com. Mike at MikeRogers.com and/or org. He can correct me. You can email Susan. You can
Mike at mrogers.org.
Okay, reach out to us.
Kimberly.
And Kimberly, what's your email contact information?
Which one?
Which one? Pick one. Whichever one you prefer.
Just, I don't want to say it out loud over the air because then I'll get prank emails.
All right, well, you work that out. Hang on a second. I just want to finish. And then people need to understand the pain that you have to make these people suffer. As long as the Republicans can win seats and get money, and the establishment controls that function, they will never stop. If they do not lose, like you said, if we do not punish them, if they do not become inconsequential, nothing will ever change in the Republican Party in New Hampshire, ever.
Right, and I think that we've touched upon something that makes me feel much better because I'm an action-oriented person, but so all those people out there that think there's no place to go, understand that when you connect with others that feel as you feel, it's so much more powerful because you
be Republicans Anonymous. How about that?
Republican Anonymous, but Grok, I like it. You have to contact Grok if you feel like you want to be part of this, because the truth of the matter is it's misinformation that's being put out there by people like Brown that say that Jennifer Horn unified this party. I can tell you that on the 3 or 4 times that I spoke personally with Jennifer Horn, she has no desire whatsoever to, number one, stand behind the platform that the delegates have voted in. That's about to be amended, folks, at the upcoming vote for chairmanship. What do they call it? The
officers.
The officer, but the whole group, the delegation, right? So that's going to be changed because you have to speak up if you don't want it changed. But more importantly, the image out there is that she cares about the party. Jennifer Horn cares about the establishment folk behind the curtain that are giving us candidates like Brown, and she should not be reelected. She was a total failure.
All right. That's the end of segment 2. We're going to come back with segment 3. We will continue the discussion. Republicans Anonymous, Granite Grok is prepared to lead the charge, and we would like you to follow. We'll be right back.
Senator Jeanne Shaheen said, if you like your current health plan, you can keep it. That's not true, Senator. 22,000 New Hampshire citizens have been kicked off their insurance plans. Hospitals in Rochester, Concord, and Portsmouth, they aren't allowed to provide care under the exchange. Senator, you were wrong in your comments. You should apologize for your misleading remarks. I'm calling Senator Shaheen at 750-3004 and telling her I want my doctor back. You should too.
Paid for by SaberPac.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
We are struggling. Rising healthcare costs are part of the problem. Senator Jeanne Shaheen helped create this mess we're in. As a state senator, her bill chased 21 insurers out of our state. It reduced our choices, raised prices for New Hampshire families, and when Jeanne Shaheen supported Obamacare, it limited access to 10 of our 26 hospitals, reducing our choices again. Tell Jeanne Shaheen she's made healthcare worse. Few things are as important as finding the right doctor. And under Obamacare, that's harder than ever. Over a third of our hospitals no longer available. Our doctors no longer covered. Fewer choices, longer drives. No state has been harder hit than us. And even after watching it impact New Hampshire, Congresswoman Ann Custer still supports it. Call Ann Custer. Tell her Obamacare isn't working for New Hampshire.
This is the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is the repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Grok TV.